It's been almost a year since the OnePlus 3T was released. At the time, it was a really good buy with top-of-the-line specs, stock-like Android experience, and a price tag that was reasonable. With that being said, let's see how this phone held up after 11 months of use. Let's start with the design. As you may remember, this phone has aluminum all around, including the edges and a front Gorilla Glass 4 panel, so I knew it was going to hold up well in the future. And it did. Currently it has no scratch marks, bumps, or any damage. I also enjoy how solid and comfortable it feels in the hand. Button placement is on point, including the fingerprint sensor on the front, and that good old alert slider came in handy at times. I do have a love-hate relationship with the back and recents keys. They look minimalistic and clean, but at the same time they are pretty tiny and dim. Still, I got used to it after a few weeks, so it wasn't even a problem afterward. As for the display, it's 5.5 inches at 1080p resolution, so of course it's not the best looking screen, especially now, but it's not that bad either. I've owned plenty of flagships in the past with Quad HD AMOLED bezel-less displays, and sure, those are way better, but back when this phone was first released, bezel-less screens weren't really a thing. It has great viewing angles, gets decently bright, and it's still a good display. It also doesn't have the jelly effect, which you'll find on the OnePlus 5. Now the next 4 topics are what I really enjoyed the most while using this phone, and the key reasons why you would buy it, even to this day. That's the fingerprint scanner, software, performance, and charging speed. Let's start with the sensor. This is one of the fastest fingerprint scanners I've ever used, and when it was first released, it was the fastest. It still recognizes it extremely well and unlocks the phone in less than a second. I never had a problem with this sensor, and it's still better than most of the top flagships on the market today. The software is also another pro. It comes packed with Oxygen OS, which provides a stock-like Android experience with a few extra features on top, and OnePlus still updates it at least once a month, which is very impressive. Granted, I did end up rooting this device and flashing a custom ROM known as Paranoid Android, which is on Android 7.1.2, and is made by some of the same developers who worked for OnePlus and helped create the OnePlus 3T. But that's also another benefit. There's plenty of ROMs, kernels, themes, and mods that are supported for this device. With Paranoid Android, I still have the extra included features within Oxygen OS, including the 3-finger swipe gesture to take screenshots, double tap on the recents key to switch between 2 of my most recently used apps, and more. But I also got some extra goodies such as pie controls, a color engine to change the primary and accent colors, different battery styles, and they even managed to improve the camera quality by using a custom post-processing algorithm to automatically find the best picture settings possible. They also improved the responsiveness of the fingerprint sensor as it is given a higher priority while the screen is off. For those who are curious, I do use Substram theme engine to change the look of the UI, and Baltic UI is the theme I love using. You can't go wrong with the software on the 3T. Now the performance is the one thing everyone wants to know about when watching a long-term review, aside from the battery, which I'll touch base on shortly. The performance is stellar. The Snapdragon 821 chip provides buttery smooth animations, and scrolling through the apps and navigating through the UI is a pleasure. The whopping 6GB of RAM also makes application reload time extremely quick, and playing games provide a lag-free experience thanks to the Adreno 530 GPU. Like I said in my initial review of the 3T, everything just flies on this phone, and it still does. As for the battery and charging capabilities, the battery life is okay. As usual, your battery stats will vary from mine, but on a daily basis, I would usually get around 3 to 4 hours of screen on time. I am a heavy user with Wi-Fi or cellular data, GPS, and Bluetooth enabled at all times, along with brightness turned almost to the max, so getting through the entire day is possible. You just can't go around playing games on this device all day long. Still, the advantage you get with OnePlus's fast charging method, known as dash charge, is that it will juice it up in around an hour. It's still the fastest charger out there, so you won't have to worry about forgetting to charge this thing overnight. The camera on the 3T was a copy and paste from its predecessor, but the photos that it takes are crisp and well detailed. The color reproduction is on point with natural looking colors, and HDR mode does a good job of keeping the camera from overexposing or blowing out the highlights. Like I said before, I am using the camera app on Paranoid Android, so modifications were made to improve the quality, and that's definitely noticeable with nighttime shooting. There's not too much noise or softness, and it has no problem displaying what is around you. OIS also helped with keeping everything from blurring out, and 4K video recordings. Some extra features worth noting is that the 3T comes with 64 or 128GB of internal storage with no microSD card slot and no water resistance, but it does have NFC, a headphone jack, a single bottom firing speaker that gets decently loud but distorts at its high points, and only supports 2 US major carriers, T-Mobile and AT&T. With that being said, the OnePlus 3T has a starting price of $440, which is a mid-range price price, but the specs and features you get with this phone show that this is very reasonable. With the phone being close to a year old, I am still very satisfied with the overall build, performance, fingerprint scanners, software capabilities, and charging speed. I'd say it's suited more towards those who are still rocking a 1 to 2 year old device and don't want to spend a fortune for a modern flagship. It's even maybe worth getting over the OnePlus 5 as it's a bit cheaper and provides a very similar experience, even if it doesn't look better on paper. That's it for the long-term review of the OnePlus 3T. Let me know in the comments what you think about this device and if it's still a game player in the world of smartphones. Make sure to drop a like if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.